The call came while Nia Kensington was reviewing closing papers. Sharp, controlled, the kind of voice banks use when something is very wrong. Mrs. Kensington. Your husband is here requesting access to your portfolio. And he's brought a woman who looks exactly like you. For a second, Nia didn't breathe. Her pen slipped. The room around her kept moving. Lawyers talking, deals unfolding. Yet her world shifted off its axis. My husband is with who? She asked, her voice steady even as her chest tightened. She's using your name, ma'am. Lady. And the resemblance is unsettling. Nia felt heat rise behind her ribs, fear sharpening into something colder, heavier. Someone was rewriting her identity in real time, and the betrayal was close enough to touch. What she does next will decide whether she loses everything, or exposes a truth powerful men never expect women like her to survive. Stay with this story. And before we continue, hit subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales so you don't miss what comes next. The moment Nia stepped out of the lobby and into the chilled Chicago air, the city sounded different. Sharper, louder, almost aware of the storm building inside her. She crossed the plaza without hesitation, her heels striking the granite with a rhythm that mirrored the pulse pounding beneath her calm exterior. The betrayal wasn't fully visible yet, but she could feel its shape forming, a shadow moving toward her life with deliberate steps. Her phone buzzed again. Mrs. Kensington, Beverly whispered. He's getting restless. The woman keeps adjusting her blazer like she's preparing for a performance. Good, Nia replied. Let her rehearse. I'll be there soon. As she drove, memories flickered. Xavier laughing with her kids, promising her father he would protect her, kissing her hand before her keynote in Manhattan. Each recollection felt like a stolen artifact now, evidence from a life that had existed under false pretenses. She gripped the wheel tighter, steadying herself. She wasn't here to drown in heartbreak. She was here to stop a calculated theft of her identity, her legacy, her future. When she reached the parking structure across from the bank, she didn't rush. She moved with intention, each breath measured. Before entering, she called her attorney. Mitchell, he has someone posing as me. There was a heavy pause. I'll meet you inside. Do not confront him alone. Nia walked through the revolving brass door of Premier Trust, a place where her family name still meant something. Today that name was under attack. She passed security, nodded politely at a teller who recognized her, and took the elevator to the third floor. Outside the consultation room she paused. Through the door's narrow gap, she could hear Xavier's smooth voice, too calm for a man committing fraud. I appreciate your patience, Beverly, he said. These regulations are exhausting, but my wife and I prefer thoroughness. My wife. The words tasted rotten. Nia inhaled once, centered herself, then stepped inside. Xavier looked up first. His expression shifted violently, from relaxed confidence to pure disbelief. The woman beside him stiffened, her imitation composure cracking like glass. Beverly, standing near the desk, executed her performance flawlessly, startled but professional, respectful of Nia's authority. Darling, Nia said evenly, you seem busy. Silence swallowed the room. Xavier opened his mouth, searching for lies that would save him. None arrived fast enough. Nia, this isn't what it looks like. It looks like you brought a stranger to impersonate me, forged my signature, and attempted to steal my inheritance. She turned to the woman. Is that roughly correct? The impostor swallowed hard. My name is. Your real name, Nia interrupted. Simone, she whispered. Nia sat, crossing her legs as though preparing for a board negotiation. You're going to explain, Nia said softly, exactly how you got my stolen ID. Xavier jumped in before Simone could speak. This was meant to be a surprise, he insisted. A business investment. You've been under so much pressure. That's enough, Nia said. The firmness in her voice silenced even the air in the room. Mitchell entered. Claudette followed with her camera. Everything began to unravel quickly. Photos taken, documents secured, forged signatures exposed. Simone broke first, her voice cracking under pressure. "He said you approved it," she cried. "He said rich women don't care about the details." The cruelty of that assumption cut deeper than the impersonation. Xavier hadn't just betrayed her. He had reduced her to a stereotype he thought he could exploit. "Officers will be here shortly," Mitchell announced. "No one leaves." That was when Xavier panicked. He stood abruptly, knocking his chair backward. "Nia, don't do this. Think about the kids. Think about how this will look." "Oh, I am thinking about how it will look," she replied. "And it will look like justice." The police arrived. They cuffed Simone first, then Xavier. He protested, pleaded, tried to guilt her with memories of better days. But she no longer recognized the man standing before her. The husband she loved had vanished long before today, replaced by someone who valued greed over family. As he was escorted out, he spat, "You're ruining my life." She stepped forward, lowering her voice to a whisper only he could hear. "No, Xavier. You ruined ours." The door closed behind him, leaving a dense silence in his wake. Weeks unfolded like chapters in a legal thriller. Investigators uncovered offshore transfers, secret accounts, encrypted messages. And hovering behind it all was another name. Reginald Thorne, a financier with charm carved into a weapon. When Nia met him in the federal detention center, he looked at her like she was prey. She sat across from him, spine straight, expression unreadable. "You dismantled my life's work," Thorne said. "No," Nia replied. "I dismantled your business of destroying families." He smirked. "You won't win." "I already did," she said. "Your network is collapsing. Your victims are speaking. And this time, none of us are silent." Thorne's mask cracked. Not fear, but something close. He was finally facing someone he could not manipulate. Months later, at the National Coalition of Black Investors conference, Nia told her story with the clarity of someone who had walked through the fire and shaped the flames into something meaningful. She spoke about trust, betrayal, resilience, and the predators who weaponize vulnerability. She exposed the system Thorne built and the choices Xavier made. She refused to hide behind shame or silence. When the audience rose in a standing ovation, it wasn't for her wealth. It was for her courage. Later that night, she returned home to her mother and children. Their embrace felt like a new beginning, not a fragile recovery. "Mom," her daughter asked, "is it over?" Nia knelt beside her. "It's over," she said. "And we're stronger than before." 3 months after the trial, the verdicts came. Simone, 3 years for impersonation and fraud. Xavier, 12 years for grand larceny, identity theft, conspiracy. Thorne, 18 years under federal RICO charges. But the most satisfying consequence didn't come from a courtroom. Financial institutions across the country circulated Thorne's file. Warnings, photos, behavioral patterns. His name became synonymous with betrayal. Doors that once opened for him slammed shut. Investors who once admired him now refused to speak his name. And Xavier, who once walked proudly into rooms using her accomplishments as his shield, was now reduced to a cautionary tale whispered in legal seminars and wealth management circles. Nia didn't just win. She rewrote the rules. She reclaimed her identity, protected her father's legacy, and built new safeguards to protect other families. But the true triumph was quieter. The peace in her home, the restored trust between her and her children, the knowledge that she had confronted darkness and refused to bow to it. Yet her story wasn't done. Because just when the world believed the chapter was closed, a letter arrived in her mailbox. No return address, no signature. Inside was a single sentence. He wasn't working alone. And just like that, the storm threatened to rise again. When the final verdicts were announced, Nia didn't celebrate. She simply stepped outside the courthouse and let the winter air settle around her like a clean slate. For the first time in months, the world didn't feel tilted. She had faced the people who tried to erase her and answered them with truth, persistence, and a refusal to disappear. But the deeper change came quietly. She no longer carried the weight of proving herself to anyone. What mattered now was the life she was rebuilding, one grounded in clarity, not illusion. At home, her children leaned into her side as if they sensed the shift. Even her mother, usually guarded, smiled with a softness that reminded Nia of evenings long before chaos entered their door. She wasn't untouched by what happened. No one could walk through that kind of fire and come out identical. But she was steadier, sharper, and more connected to her own strength than ever before. The truth had cost her, yes, but it had also returned parts of her she didn't know she'd lost. Later that night, she stood by the window, Chicago lights scattering across the glass like scattered gold. The city looked wide open again, full of paths she now felt ready to walk. If this story moved you, help it reach someone who needs it. Like the video, share it, and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales so we can keep bringing powerful stories to life.